Hi, everyone. Welcome back. It's so exciting to be here today with Ashley Sachs. She's an entrepreneur. I'm Morgan Doman. This is, I'll let you introduce yourself, Sarah.
Hi, guys. This is Sarah McGrath. This week we decided to do something different. So we're starting a series, or continuing the series, but starting a portion of it where we're talking with other entrepreneurs who, just like us, are in the beginning and the midst of going full in on their entrepreneurial journey. So yes, this week we have Ashley with us. Ashley, go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. I love talking about being an entrepreneur, and I love you guys. So I'm Ashley Sachs. I have a practice called awakenedbeauty.life, where I help people step into who they are, kind of. I know we're going to talk about it. Well, I know we're going to talk about all of that. People already are who they are. I just help them present that to the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us why you decided to become like an entrepreneur.
Well, I think for most people, it's just in your DNA. Like it's just other things. Like I've done the corporate world. Like I went to college and got the good job and worked my way up a little bit, and I did it kicking and screaming the entire way because it just wasn't me. And I knew deep down that it wasn't me, but I didn't know how to not do that, because that's what you're supposed to do. That's what I was taught to do. My grandfather was an entrepreneur, and my dad also entrepreneur. So it's just like in my DNA, it's in my blood, but I just didn't know how to do it. And so we'll get into it, I'm sure, but I have failed at many a thing before I landed finally in what I'm doing now.
What does, when you say fail, what is a failure to you?
Great question, because really they're not failures, because everything leads you to where they are now. A failure to me is something that I launched, a business. I've done jewelry, I've done makeup. I mean, I still do makeup, but just different things that I thought, this is going to be it. You get the business cards made, you start spinning your wheels and doing all the stuff, and then it just doesn't pan out for whatever reason. And now I know it's because it's a journey, and it all leads you to where ultimately you're supposed to be. And what I have found is that all of those failures, there's been resistance around them, a lot of resistance. And so ultimately they didn't work out because that wasn't the exact path that I was supposed to be going down. And also a failure is you don't make money at it, which is something that I definitely had to unblock, because, being an entrepreneur, especially a heart-centered entrepreneur, like all of us are, is so much more than making money. But when you're looking at it from a business standpoint, if you're not making money, then it's not really a business. Mm-hmm. So it's just this this dilemma that entrepreneurs face, doing something they love, but then also trying to make money at it.
What does like heart-centered entrepreneurship look like to you?
Someone who their business, their mission is to help other people, the planet, animals. They have a mission behind what they're doing, not just to make money, not just to sell something.
Yeah.
So, I mean, really, I feel that that's the way to be a successful entrepreneur. You have to have your whole heart into it. But there's a lot of people who are making a lot of money out there who, aren't necessarily in on it. Mm-hmm. I mean, whoever invented the the toothpick or something. That person's making a ton of money, but are they really super passionate about the toothpick? I don't know.
You never know. It's a very useful thing.
Maybe. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
For sure. I think you bring up a really good point though about it's funny because you're so much more of you is in it when you are heart-centered and you are doing something from your heart and you really want to genuinely help people. But then the question of like, why isn't this working? Or why aren't I making more money is like harder. It's a much more emotionally charged question. Yeah, and can be harder to answer sometimes, for sure. So in terms of your program, like what's that, tell us more about that.
Well, I don't want to lose the thought that I just had with what you just said, because you're talking about making money, and that has been a huge block for me that I have had to work through I'm still working through it, but I finally have had a breakthrough recently. And my personal block comes from around my grandfather and my surroundings, where I felt that if I wasn't earning a lot of money, now this came from me, didn't come from them. They loved me no matter what I did. But I believed deep down that if I wasn't making a lot of money doing something, then I wasn't going to be loved ultimately. Mm-hmm. And so the block around, making money, I finally have had to come to a place we'll get into my program, which is the process that I did to get me to where I am now. And then I just made it into a step-by-step program that I could help other people through, is to put money on the back burner. Money is a side effect of, living your truth and being an embodied way shower. It is something that comes after, you do the work on yourself and you figure out what it is that you're offering. Money will just come. Mm-hmm. I was doing it the other way. I was chasing the money first, thinking that if I have money, then people will love me, people will respect me, and people will ultimately come to me. Mm. But it's actually the other way around. So
and what did you do to unblock it?
Well, how we all met, we met doing Lacey Phillips' work, To Be Magnetic, which it's all about manifestation. And I've been drawn to manifestation since I was young, and I didn't know why. I did all the things and visualized my dream life and all of that stuff. But her work, and really, I give Lacey all the credit in the world. I love her work, but when you dive deeper into anybody who's really teaching about manifestation, this day and age, it's all about unblocking your subconscious mind and those blocks deep down. So that was kind of a gateway, and I did a bunch of her work. And now I just, I'm going to be working with you, a coach, Morgan and Sarah. We have an appointment coming up, which I'm super excited about. And I've worked with other coaches. And so it's just all about unblocking. And I meditate every single day and do unblocking things on my own. But it's a journey. We're all just creating new blocks all the time. You get rid of one block, but then that just opens up another one. So it's an ongoing process.
Yeah. What you were just saying about the money block that you reversed, it made me think of this expression that I really love. And I think I heard it from this guy named Aaron Doherty. He's like a YouTube creator and Instagram creator, but the concept is be, do, have. Like that's the key to manifesting your dream reality. And the other way, so what you were doing before, it sounds like, Ashley, and what most people do is they go have, do, be. So if I have the money, I'll do the things and I'll be that person. But the way you do it is you be that person, you do the things, and then you have the money or the life or whatever you're trying to get to. So that's the key.
Yeah, you can see us both shaking our heads. You're like,
yeah. I'm a full body yes. Full body yes.
Like undulating waves.
And it's so funny because I'm 36 years old. Like, I've been on this path for a little bit of time now. And like, this is a lesson that I've just learned real hardcore this year. It's 2020. It's the year of, you know, upheavals and, you know, shadow. And so, yeah, what you just said super resonated with me. And it's totally true. I mean, that's what my program is, my process that I went through that's taken me years and years, that I've condensed into a program and a space that can allow other people who have similar situations that I have, fear of being in front of people, fear of being myself, fear of rejection, fear of not making any money, not succeeding, being dependent on somebody else, all the things. And so, you know, anybody who is feeling that way, but know deep down that they're here for a big purpose, because we all know that, you know, this is a vehicle to help you get from feeling insecure and like, who am I? I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not smart enough, blah, 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 to standing in front of people, getting on YouTube videos, having people ask you deep questions, you know, just being in front of the camera and being okay with it and proud of it, because that, you know that that's what you're supposed to do ultimately.
Just to like jive off that too, I think the unblocking and the getting out there and all of that, I just have to say from my point of view, like, no one does this alone. And I think that one of the biggest like things about being an entrepreneur is that you do it alone. And the truth is, like, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you, Ashley, and like doing your program with you. And I certainly wouldn't be here without Sarah and doing RTT with her and Lacey and numerous other people, Nadine, like I have so many people that I could name that I wouldn't be in this exact space right now if it wasn't for them, because I needed them to help me unblock. And I just think it's important to say right now, like, all of us, like, we're all like constantly giving each other like advice, unblocking each other, like working with each other and using our own skills to help each other, whether that's like bartering or not, it doesn't matter. It's just like, you don't do this alone. You don't walk this path alone. And the crazy thing is, when I started to walk this path, like, truly, you guys just came out of the woodwork. Like, I still don't remember how I really met Ashley. Like, we like connected on Facebook, and then boom. And then Sarah, we met at a beautiful moment. But like, it was just, it's just, I think it's just worth saying that, like, get your community, you know, work with them, you know, use each other's skills to get better and better and better. It's really a cool thing. So let's talk about your program. Is that okay if we like make that? Because it's fascinating. And just as full disclosure, everyone, I've done Ashley's program. In terms of my confidence level, it went from about a 1.5 to like an 11. Like before and after her program, it literally, like, you know, in terms of my self-worth and unblocking a lot of the things, the negative things around my body, it was like instrumental. So I just want to say that, full disclosure.
Thanks.
Ashley, tell us about your program. Like, how does it work and why did you create it?
So the way it works is like, it's a journey. It's an activation and a journey. And I'm actually working on, as of right this second, it is a one-on-one coaching program. But what I'm working on, as you guys know, I don't know if I should get into all of that yet, making it more, making it easier for people to do on their time and by themselves. So more virtual virtually and digitally. That's not coming out right. So the program, well, since I'm doing this chakra cleanse right now, and if anybody, sees this now, I'm doing a chakra cleanse journey. And right now we're in the second week. So we're in the sacral chakra. And if you're watching this later,
on Instagram,
what?
I'm just tracking it's on Instagram.
Right. And
Oh,
if you want to watch it later, it's on Instagram, awakenedbeauty.life, and it'll all be up there. But essentially, the chakra system is a perfect, it's a perfect starting point for somebody who wants to take a self-discovery journey, because it's a line. You start at the foundation, your root, who you are, why you have the issues that you're having, and it goes all the way up to your crown chakra, your highest self, your connection to your higher self. And so what my program is, an awakened beauty program, is it's a complete journey with the emphasis on being in our physical bodies, beauty, confidence, and just the way we see ourselves and others too. It just has everything to do with being in our physical bodies, from the foundation all the way up to ultimately connecting with our higher self, which is who we want to put out into the world. That's our higher self. And that's the person that I want to see more of. And I think that's why I'm so excited about it, is because I see it is my spiritual gift, and I'm very passionate about it. I see that in other people way more than I can see it in myself. I can see somebody and just be like, oh my God, you have this, and these are your gifts. And, I use tools, human design, and other tools to like really see what people are capable of. But it's like, you can't keep that in. And so I had to go through that journey myself, because I didn't see that in myself for a really long time. And so it's fun for me to like see other people, blossoming, just like I had to do that myself over years and years and years, and I'm still doing it every day.
Yeah. It's awesome. I'll just say, like, one of the things that for me, I think for me, what happened that was so transformational was that all of a sudden my confidence didn't come from outside validation. And when I started to cleanse those negative negative blocks that I had, I was no longer like mirroring negativity back to myself. And it's funny because I had this, for anyone who can't see me, I'm a curvy woman. I'm proud of it. And I'm because of my past, I'm very aware of fat phobia when I hear it and see it in our culture. And someone said something like pretty fat phobic in front of me the other day. And usually that mirror back to me would have been, oh my God, he's probably judging me. Like, he probably doesn't think I'm hot because of what he just said, or you know what I mean? And I would have been really triggered. But what changed in my brain was like, oh no, like he just has his own insecurity issues. And that has nothing to do with me. And I'm still super sexy and hot and whatever. And I was just like, whoa, how like sometimes when our mindset changes like that, it's so, you're literally shocked yourself. I don't know if any of you have had like experiences like that, but that was one of the big things that happened for me, Ashley, after your program, was like all of a sudden, negative thoughts and feelings in our society were it was no longer about me. It's just, oh, that's them.
Mm-hmm. I just got full body chills when you said that, because ultimately that's what makes somebody hot. That's what makes somebody sexy. That's what makes somebody attractive, is confidence. Mm-hmm. And we can't get there until we do that inner work, that what you did. And then ultimately everyone can have that moment where they're like, it's not about them. Everything is within. And then when you start to, and I think it's important for me to say too, I also am a Reiki master, and I work with a frequency modality. So there's a lot of energy work going on. It's not just like just a coaching program. There's that energy exchange too. But I think it's important for people to realize that it's a complete rebirth of who you actually are. And you can't see that unless you have those triggers. That's what those triggers are.
Yeah.
Ultimately, they're not there to hurt you. They're there to show you what you need to work on so you can grow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I also, just because we're going to get into it and we're all spiritual girls here, and it's a huge part of my life that I hope it's okay to share this. But ultimately, yes, I did this journey for me because I was scared to be put out there. But with beauty specifically, there's no one more important in my life than my twin sister. And she had struggled with mental health issues and anorexia her whole life. And what I know that to be now, I know with all of my being to know, is that there is a darkness, whatever you want to call it, matrix, darkness, whatever, that feeds on people, and in my life specifically, women, to keep them down, to keep them suppressed, to keep them in, a small box, afraid to show the world who they are and to do what they came here to do. With this darkness of being, you're not pretty enough.
Yeah.
You're not sexy enough. You're not whatever enough. And so really, that's the root of my work, is to lift that darkness off of one woman at a time. That's so we can all just be ourselves and bring more beauty and light into the world.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I've been feeling a lot of that lately. And I was actually talking with Morgan recently about feeling this. Shaman Durek calls like those sketchers, that's like beings from like underworld or just darkness, keeping your power down and suppressing you. I've felt a lot of that energy recently, and I feel like it's a big purge of 8 years of just sludge going on for me, and I know a lot of other people. But it's definitely, it's a thing. And the way you get rid of it is you shine light on the sketchers, you shine light on everything. And Ashley, you're certainly doing that. You're just full of color and love and light, and that's how we get.
I'm going to tear up because it's not easy. Like, I am affected by it. I am deeply affected by it. And I'm actually angry about it. These are love and light colors, but it's backed with like a force of Scorpio, double Gemini. I'm like fucking done with it. Like, I'm done with you. I'm done with you, darkness. Like, no, like, let us just be light. Like, let us stop being afraid and stop playing small and stop hiding and stop hating ourselves. If you guys ever have, every single woman, most women have dealt with some form of insecurity. But if you've ever been around somebody who is deeply troubled by this darkness that we're talking about, it is heart-wrenching to see somebody who is just the lightest being in the world, literally is an angel here on earth, just to help people, children, would do anything for you. But when they go and stand in front of a mirror, they literally want to like hurt themselves because of how much that they don't like what they're seeing. I'm not going to cry, but I want to cry because it's excruciating. And those are not that everybody isn't a light being, but those people are the ones that are plagued the hardest because they're the lightest ones. So that's the darkness is attracted to those light beings. And unfortunately, this is the work that I've chosen to do. Free them. Free them.
Yes.
Yeah, I just got like chills because I think I want to say one thing, and I wonder if you both feel this way, but in a way though, I honor the darkness, because if it wasn't for the darkness is what shows us how to like move into the light. And for me, like my journey with my body has been like 28 years in the making. And as much as I'm coming more and more into the light, I do find that the darkness is almost like a mirrored companion. Like when I start to feel myself getting into that darkness, I go, whoa, where am I not living in my authenticity? You know, where am I going wrong? What am I sacrificing that I don't know. It's like in a way, like my light or my light journey is only possible because the darkness is there to mirror.
Well, absolutely. There is no light without dark, and there is no dark without light. And if it wasn't for my sister's, battle and the excruciating pain that I went through watching that, and also my own struggles as a woman, I wouldn't be here. If I just like loved my body my whole life, I don't know, maybe I'd be an accountant or something. Probably not. I can barely add, but something else. But we obviously need the darkness. The main important thing to realize here, and what I'm trying to do, is it's awareness of that darkness. Because these girls who are dealing with things like anorexia and bulimia and body dysmorphic disorder, and just the women who are just dealing with a lot of insecurities, doesn't have to be to that extreme. They think they don't understand that dark and light situation, so they just see the darkness. And that's a hard place to be. So it's just about awareness, bringing the awareness to people so they can choose, because ultimately we all have free will and we can choose to live that way or a mix of both.
Yeah, absolutely. Ashley, so is it just women that you serve, or is it both men and women?
I struggle with that because I work with a coach who says if you're not specific, if you're talking to everyone, you're not talking to anyone. And my heart is obviously with women, because that is who I am and that is what I've seen. So that is, but I mean, if a man came to me and was like, I want help, being in a full embodiment of myself, and I'm resonate with your work, I would be happy to work with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's funny because my niche is usually women, but I do help some men, like I coach some guys. And the interesting thing about helping men is, in a way, it has I don't know how to say this without it sounding a little bit sexist, but it has a little bit more of a ripple effect. Because confident men who are truly in their worth, it's like all of a sudden the people in their life start to shift faster. And I don't know if it's why, but like, I just find that, well, maybe it's just because the codependency issue isn't there with them. But anyway, it's fascinating to see though, how when men step into their masculinity, how the women in their life are free to go into their feminine energy, and all of a sudden like relationships work better. Because I think like when we're not in where we're supposed to be, whether you're a man who's supposed to be feminine, masculine, that doesn't matter. But when we lean into where we want to be, whether it's masculine or feminine, all of a sudden like people shift into where they want to be. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it definitely does. And believe me, any chance that I get, I am working with the men in my life. Like if you meet me at a party and meet me in a corner, I'm pulling up your human design. I'm going to tell you about yourself. Like it does, like I love to tell men like all that stuff. And more importantly than that, like I love it when they are like, oh, wow, like I didn't know, because yes, we are in a patriarchal society, but men are suffering too.
They are.
They, you know, they don't want to be, you know, masculine all the time. They're, I mean, look at what's going on in the world. Like we've got some hurt little boys in positions of power that just need a hug and need to know that it's okay to just, you know, be a loving being, and you don't have to, you know, be all these things, have all this money, have all this power, to just be loved. And so
just to go off that, sorry, because I love this topic, but men are leaning into their toxic masculinity, not masculinity. Like masculinity isn't toxic. It's beautiful, it's caring, it's nurturing, it's protection, it's all the things that I think women crave in a partner. When it's and I think that you can see the men who are shedding the toxicity and just stepping into their masculine, and you can see like they're confident, but also they're just so attractive, they're so powerful, you know, like because they embody masculinity and how beautiful it truly can be. So yeah, I totally, you know, resonate with that.
And real strength for men and women, anyone, is vulnerability. So being able to be vulnerable and just still be like, yeah, this is me, and confident in it, like that is ultimate masculinity or femininity.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also love this topic. I think, frankly, that men almost need more help than women, because it's much harder for them to find a safe way to step out of the narrative of the world, because we are a patriarchal society. Like it's much more expected of men to act a certain way, because that's how the structure of everything works. So to step out of that is like it could feel very unsafe, I'm sure. And so it's harder for them to find ways to, you know, find a program like Ashley's and feel okay saying, yes, I'm doing this to feel embodied. You know, it's easy for women to say that because women are known as like the woo-woo emotional being, you know, so it's okay for her to do these things. But for men, it just seems so much harder for them to be able to find that safe space to unpack their vulnerable side or what have you. So I really feel for them because of that.
Definitely.
Yeah, and just to have the ability to talk like to each other and to connect, you know, and I think that's one of the reasons why men, you know, need relationships, because they feel comfortable talking to women, not necessarily other men. But the problem is the healing of masculinity is man to man, or masculinity to masculinity, not femininity to masculinity. And in my opinion, like men need other masculine figures to heal, just like women need feminine figures to heal. Like we're not going to heal I'm not going to heal myself in the arms of a man. Like I'm only going to do it with other women. So it's really, I think, an important thing is that, you know, this is why I see a lot of men with codependency issues, is because they're relying on the women in their life to heal them, and it's never going to work. And then of course the women step into a very masculine or mothering position, which is the death to our relationship. Like, you know, once you have that boy mom dynamic in a romantic relationship, it's like, oh, there goes sex and everything else. It's like, boop, all gone. So, yeah, I think it's really, it's hard for them to connect. And why, when you do see the men doing, because there are men doing this work, and if anyone's interested, you're always welcome to reach out to me. I can always send you who I follow, because God, they're hot. I have to have this on my Instagram feed. They're so hot. But I give them so much credit for being so vulnerable and talking about this stuff. And they talk about things like, how to last longer in sex, because a lot of men who, just like for women who, can't connect to their bodies in an orgasmic way, there's a block there. So it's really just fascinating and just amazing work that they do. And they're so out there and so vulnerable, like Sarah was saying. So anyway.
That's interesting. Yeah. I want to know about those people. And it's interesting you just brought that up, because I'm on the sacral chakra this week, and it's like, I feel like my program is the sacral chakra, with the chakra system within the sacral chakra. It's all about the sacral chakra. Like that is what we are lacking, the freedom to be our creative, expressive selves. But something you brought up, that you're talking about, you'll never heal in the arms of a man, you'll only heal in the arms of a woman. And that is absolutely true. We need women in our lives. And that's been a huge block for me too. But one thing I want to bring up, and I want to see how you guys feel about this, because this is kind of, as I've been trying to figure out how to explain my program, because it's just a very in-depth program. It's 8 parts. I've broken the root into 2 parts, because that's where all the problems lie. And each section has a meditation and questions and journaling and all that stuff. And then infused energy. But ultimately, what I want the result to be is not just an embodiment of who you actually are, but have you guys ever really fallen in love? Really fallen in love?
That's a very difficult question to ask.
How would you
I'm sure you've had infatuations and that kind of thing, and thought that you were in love. And you don't have to answer, if maybe you can come back to it.
That's why I'm saying it's a difficult question to ask, because I can say the only person I've truly fallen in love with is myself.
Well, you just answered the rest of you just made my point. But that's amazing. That's amazing. That's my entire point. That feeling that we give away our power, and I just want to fall in love, and it's going to be a fairy tale, and I have fallen in love, and it is beautiful, and you can't be away from that person, and you just want to be next to that person. But do we ever really fall in love with ourselves? Really fall in love with ourselves? Oh, I can't wait to see myself in the mirror today. Oh my God, look at how you've grown, you beautiful soul, you. Oh my God. Do we? No, we don't. And I'm that is the program that I've created, and that is the work that I continue to do every day. But that's my goal. I want people to fall so deeply in love with themselves that they treat themselves like they would that other person that they've fallen in love with.